Day 63. So today's been a good day and I'm feeling in a good place in a way that I haven't necessarily felt in a good place before. By which I mean I'm not ecstatic and bouncing off the walls and living in that extreme that I know I can do. But I feel kind of stable and embedded in a decent place. And when I look at the kind of bigger picture of my life in the last week or so, 10 days, I've enjoyed the time I spend at work, I've enjoyed the time I spend by myself or outside of work, and thoroughly enjoyed my weekend and the whole kind of spectrum of what has made up the last 10 days or so is pretty close to what I kind of would want an end goal to be, where I can be myself, I can enjoy the time that I spend without dragging around my struggles and problems because I've faced a lot of them, and being able to actually live in the moment, which is something I've never really done before. And that's kind of meant that I haven't been stuck in those cycles that I go through, because I've not been working as a distraction, I've not been ruminating on things and getting trapped, I've not been detaching from the world, I've not been seeking out relationships to feed my own sense of being, and I've not been questioning my want to be alive. But that has kind of brought with it some new emotions that I've never really experienced. I've never really gotten angry before, and I found, particularly in the last sort of 4 days, that things have happened that have not made me irate as such, but just kind of go, for goodness sake, really? And that genuine frustration and anger isn't something that I've never really gone to, I think, because my response has always just been to become sad about something. And that hasn't been the organic emotional response in the last week, so something has changed somewhere, which has affected my emotional responses to external stimulus. And that will bring its own challenges, I'm sure, over time, but it's that kind of pick and mix of emotions that I've not had before. I've always had just that one emotion in the bag, whereas now there's several others coming into play that make me actually feel alive and have some understanding of what's important to me and the values that I have, and then ultimately shape my decisions. But on a slightly different topic, I've had a few conversations with people over the last couple of days about one of the things that really brings me down and always has done, which is where somebody does something with the best of intentions, and for whatever reason those things then go wrong and actually end up causing pain and suffering. Whether that's something as big as somebody sort of buying their child a car for the first time, and one day down the line that child's then in a car crash and they're then forever affected by it in some way. That whole kind and positive beginning, which was the joy-bringing moment that ultimately led to huge negativity, it really brings me down, just the idea of something that was so brilliant suddenly being the opposite of what it was. I remember I must have been about 11 or 12, and at the time my favourite song was a song by the Lightning Seeds, and my mum came home from the shop with a Lighthouse Family album for me because she'd thought that was who had written the song that I liked at the time. And I kind of went along with it as an 11 or 12-year-old and said thank you for it, and then kind of forced myself to listen to it as much as I could, even though I really hated it. And even then, at that age, I felt horrendously guilty that my mum had tried to do something really nice for me that had actually not achieved the outcome that her intentions wanted in the first place. Because I think in my irrational head that if she knew that I didn't like it, she'd get upset, and I then carried this pain and guilt about the fact that I could potentially have made my mum upset for something that in reality she wouldn't have really got upset about. And I've talked quite a bit about facing my mistakes and my problems in the last week or so. I think certainly for me, addressing some of those even really minor things has meant that I can resolve them. They don't really bring me down anymore. And that has meant trying to face them, which isn't necessarily the easiest thing in the world, but my life is certainly richer for it. So hopefully this stability will carry on for the next few days or so, and share, subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow.